Hello everyone and welcome to our foundational lecture on the principle of management. My name is Narsingh Kumar Soni, assistant professor and guest teacher in Department of Management. Over the course of this session, we will embark on a comprehensive journey to understand one of the most critical factors in the success of any human endeavor, that is management. We will begin by exploring the very definition of an organization and the fundamental role that management play within it. This course is designed for graduate learners, so we will be moving beyond simple definitions. We will critically analyze the functions, characteristics, and objective of management, and we will also discuss the complex challenges that managers face in today's dynamic environment. Our goal is to build a robust and nuanced understanding of what it truly means to manage. Before we begin, let's establish our learning objective for this session. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to first define management and articulate its fundamental importance within any organizational context. Second, you will be able to identify and explain the core characteristics that define management as a unique practice and a field of study. Third, you will be able to list and discuss the primary objectives that management seeks to achieve, from resource optimization to customer satisfaction. Fourth, we will differentiate between often confused concepts of administration and management, clarifying their distinct role and functions. And finally, you will be able to critically analyze and engage with the enduring academic debate on whether management should be classified as a science and art, or, as we will explore, a synthesis of both. This objective will serve as our roadmap for the detailed discussion that follows. Let us start at the very beginning. For most of our lives, we are consciously or unconsciously members of various organizations. This could be a college, a sport team, a musical group, a civic organization, or a business. Now I want you to reflect on this. What is the single unifying thread that connect all of these seemingly different groups? The answer is a goal or a purpose. An organization is, by its very nature, a collection of individuals brought together to achieve something that they could not achieve alone. Today, for any of these organizations to successfully attain their objectives, whether that objective is to win a championship, to cure a disease, or to generate a profit, it is absolutely essential that they utilize efficiently the resources available to them. This is the critical juncture with where the concept of management enters the picture. This efficient utilization can only be achieved through what we call efficient management. Why is this so crucial? Because the resources available in our society, be it time, money, material, or human talent, are scarce. The fundamental economic problem of scarcity is the root driver for the need for management. If resources were infinite, we would not need to manage them, but they are not. Therefore, the development of management and the application of management skill become utterly important, precisely to meet organizational objective within the constraint of these limited resources. There are three compelling reasons why a graduate learner such as yourself should study organizations and management. First, organizations contribute immensely to our present standards of living worldwide. The phone in your pocket, the food you eat, the education you receive, all are product of complex organization. Second, organizations build toward a desirable future and help individuals do the same. They are the engines of innovation and personal growth. And third, organizations connect people to their past, their career of their culture, history, and knowledge. So we have established that organization need to use scarce resources to achieve goals. The people who are formally tasked with this responsibility are called managers. It is their specific task to coordinate all the varied organizational activities in such a way as to ensure the optimum utilization of all the resources available to them. They are the conductors of the organizational orchestra. This brings us to a more formal introductory definition. Management is the process of utilizing and coordinating all the organizational resources available optimally with the objectives to meet organizational goals. It can also be thought of as the practice of consciously and continually shaping the organization. A manager is not just a passive observer, they are an active architect of the organization, present and future. This task is not static, it is incredibly dynamic. Management has to constantly keep pace with the dynamic external environment to ensure that the organization is able to cater to changing demand. Think about it: new technologies, new competitors, new regulations, new customer expectations. A manager must navigate all of this. The ultimate aim of management then is to take decisions which, when implemented, will fulfill a broad set of organizational objectives. Now, let's move beyond the introductory definition and ask, in a more academic sense, what is management? At a graduate level, we must understand that management focuses on the entire organization from both a short term and critically a long term perspective. It is not just about day to day firefighting. Management is a managerial process of forming a strategic vision, setting clear objectives, crafting a strategy, and then, this is the hard part, implementing and executing that strategy. A key insight here is that management does not just look inward, it goes far beyond the organization's internal operations. It must include a deep analysis of the industry and the general environment in which it operates. A manager cannot succeed by only looking at their own department. What does this environment focus involve? The key emphasis on issues related to environmental scanning and industry analysis. This means systematically appraising current and future competitors. Who are they? What are they good at? What are they planning? It also involves a clear-eyed assessment of the organization's own core competencies. What are we uniquely good at, and how can we leverage that? Finally, this strategic view of management involves strategic control and the effective allocation of those scarce organizational resources we mentioned earlier. It's about making tough decisions, deciding what to do, and just as importantly, what not to do. To manage, in essence, is to affect the activity of a process, and successful management is what achieves, to some degree, the desired result. But is this an easy task? Our source material points out two profound factors that create immensely difficulty for management to be effective. These are complexity and delays. First, let's talk about complexity. Organizations, especially large ones, are incredibly complex systems. They are not simple machines. Our text warns that if you poke a complex system, it is responds. But if you are trying to poke it again, even in what you think is the exact same way, you might get similar result at the first. But over time, it will reveal result that you would not have expected. Effective predictability is limited only to the early, immediate results. This means a manager of a complex system must be able to detect early deviation from their expectation very quickly and take corrective action. If you wait too long, the deviation grows and you get increasing rate and diversity of unanticipated problems. In short, the system can become unmanageable. The second challenge is delayed response. This compounds the difficulty of managing complex systems. If there is a long delay between a manager action and appearance of the result, it becomes incredibly difficult to associate the outcome with the cause. Did our new marketing campaign, which is launched 6 months ago, cause the sales increase, or was it the competitor's product failure or a seasonal trend? The delay make it hard to know. This condition make it much more difficult for a manager to learn and develop a skill. We naturally try to manage the things that have quick, visible response, but we often have no clue what else is happening in the many other processes functioning within the system. They seem unrelated to our action until one day they are not. This means our surprises are often drastic and seemingly unsolvable. People will speculate on the causes. These speculations will be controversial and there are seldom obvious beneficial options for the manager. We just try to adapt, cope, and suffer the consequences. This is why management and the effective application of its skills become so important. A good manager is one who has the insight and vision needed to navigate this complexity and ambiguity to still achieve organizational goals. Let's take a brief pause and recap what we have covered so far. We began by establishing that organizations are goal oriented groups that must use scarce resources efficiently. We define management as the core process responsible for this efficient utilization and coordination of resources to meet organizational goals. We have also explored the reasons for studying management, linking it to our standard of living, our future, and our past. We then depended our understanding looking at management from a strategic perspective, highlighting its crucial outward looking role in scanning the environment, analyzing competitors, and understanding core competency. And finally, we have just discussed the profound real world challenges managers face, the inherent complexity of the system they manage, and the time delays between their actions and the ultimate result. This set the stage of why we need formal definitions and principles which we will turn to next. Now let's move on to the formal definitions of management. The etymology of the word is interesting. It comes from the old French word management, meaning the art of conducting, directing, which in terms comes from the Latin manus agri, meaning to lead by the hand. This gives as a clue about its early conception. One of the most famous and enduring traditional definition was coined by the pioneering theorist Mary Parker Follett. She defined management as the art of getting things done through others. This definition is simple, elegant, and captures a core truth. Management is about directing others to perform tasks rather than performing the task themselves. This traditional approach lays its emphasis on the fact that management directs the workers to control them and get result from them. In this view, workers were often seen just like any other factor of production, like machines or raw materials. However, as our society and understanding of human psychology evolved, these definitions have been heavily criticized. What are the grounds for this criticism? First, there is an ethical concern. Employees are treated as mere means to attain organization goal. Their own needs and aspirations are secondary, if considered at all. Second, it implies the management manipulate the behavior of worker to get things done. which foster a sense of mistrust. Third, as a direct consequences, the need and aspiration of the workers are not taken care of. And finally, it is based on a rather cynical assumption that workers must be pushed to work. What we will later in this course identify as Theory X. The modern workplace is very different. An organization employs people, yes, but for the efficient utilization of its resources. And to be efficient, the need of the people employed have to be to by the organization. It is extremely important to satisfy their needs, not just for ethical reasons, but to motivate them and secure their genuine contribution. Today, workers are knowledgeable, they have higher aspiration, and they expect those aspirations to be fulfilled at the workplace. The limitation of the traditional view led to more modern and, I would argue, more effective definition. A landmark definition was provided by Harold Kunz, who said, management is the art of getting things done through and with people in formally organized groups. This is a profound and critical evolution that small addition and with changes everything. It reframes the manager role entirely. It is no longer just about directing but about collaborating. Kunz's definition emphasizes that management is the art of creating an environment in which people can perform as individuals and yet cooperate toward the attainment of a group goals. Management must ensure there are opportunities for growth and development for employees precisely in order to get better result. It is a win-win perspective. This leads us to another major category of definition, management as a process. Many theorists define management not by what it is but by what it does. The most famous of these comes from the French industrialist Henry Fayol, who said, to manage is to forecast and plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. Similarly, George R. Terry defined management as a distinct process consisting of planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling performed to determine and accomplish objective by the use of human beings and other resources. Management is described as a process because it involves this series of functions. The various steps as commonly cited are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. We will study each of these functions in great detail in subsequent lectures. Because this process integrates human effort with other resources and because it involves organizational interaction to carry out goals, management is also regarded as a social process. It is a process that happens between people. Joseph Massey summarized this well, stating management is the process by which a cooperative group directs action toward common goals. The keywords here are cooperative groups and common goals. In this lecture, we explored the foundational principle of management, beginning with the understanding that organizations are goal-oriented groups working with scarce resources, making efficient management essential. We discussed how managers coordinate resources to achieve objectives while adapting to dynamic environments. The session highlighted management as both a short-term and long-term strategic process involving environmental scanning, competitor analysis, and optimal resources allocation. We examined the major challenges managers face, especially complexity and delays in organizational system. The lecture introduced traditional and modern definitions of management, contrasting Follett's getting things done through others with Kunz's more collaborative through and with people. We also reviewed the process-oriented views of Fayol and Terry, emphasizing planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling as core managerial functions. Management today is seen not only as technical activity but also as a social process requiring cooperation, motivation, and shared goals. Thank you all my dear students for listening attentively and engaging with today's session. Your focus and curiosity made the lecture meaningful. Looking forward to our next class together. Thank you.